is very interested in housing and on-campus organizations and in the SGA. And so he was really curious to know why our students go home on the weekends and what the campus can do to try to encourage students to stay home. So we worked on a project this fall to address that. Yes.
Like she said, hello, my name is Coleman, and I'm here to address why our students go home on the weekends. It really bugs me as an RA to just see all of our students just up and leave. They literally take everything. Some people just clear their whole rooms out every weekend just to take it home, and I was just like, why? Why? What is so urgent to get back from? Like me personally, I really wanted to get to college and just have a blast and just learn and find myself while I was here. But what are they missing to not enjoy that experience and not want it? So like I said, let's face it, our students go home on the weekends. You know it, I know it, the question is why. And with our university holding a 71% freshman retention rate and a 31% six-year graduation rate, surely something plays into our students staying here or leaving in that, for that matter. So our study asked why students go home on the weekends and what the university could do to kind of get them to stay here on campus on the weekends. It also questioned if campus organization involvement influenced perceived social support and if that was part of the reason that the students went home. So some of the questions included in the study were, how likely would you be to stay on campus if social buildings were open? How many hours per week do you work at a job or campus work study? Where do you currently live? How often do you go home for the weekends? A big question. Other than major school breaks, and why do you go home when you do? And based on those questions, we had a lot more than that, but based on those questions, they gave us a lot of different results. I did, huh? The sample consisted of 296 college freshmen enrolled in intro psych and intro sociology at Jacksonville State. And there were 73 males and 215 females. It's a pretty big gap in male to female, but the difference as far as percentage within those populations is very significant, and we'll get to that in a second. So essentially, homesickness is why people go home. Nearly half of the students reported going home at least once a month, and their primary reason for going home was that they miss their family, which is cute. And then that's followed by the fact that they miss their pets, which is even cuter. And so then this was a graph of why they go home. If you can see the really long line that says they miss their family and they want to visit their family. And then the next line is they miss their pets. And then a lot of people are like, well, I live at home, so I have to go there, which brought into context the number of people that we have as far as commuters who are coming to our school. I didn't think about it as much when I was conducting the study, but that is a really huge portion of the people who maybe live in the area like, well, I just want to go to Jack State. That's cool, it's close to home, I get to stay with my family, et cetera, et cetera. But that's a really big jump from people who visit to miss their family and people who miss their pets and the commuters. And then when I asked what the most important thing the university could add that would encourage them to stay over the weekend, the majority of students said a movie theater, which surprised me because we have a movie theater right in Oxford, but then you also have to think about the fact that in our students, a lot of them don't have cars. And so the people who are going home on the weekends, they would like to stay and like to maybe do something, but like if we had a movie theater, maybe they would stick around more, maybe have something more to do. Follow that, they would like a social hangout place, and then a mall, performing arts center, student rec center, which we're currently getting, and hopefully that includes a couple of those, including the hangout place and maybe a little place to watch movies. That would be really cool if they haven't already decided to do that, because that's what a lot of people would like to see on this campus. In reference to gender differences, females were more likely than males to go home because they wanted to avoid their roommate or people they see on campus. They miss their bedroom, they miss their house, or they miss their pets. And there are a lot of sentimental values in all of those. I guess not the roommate or the people they want to see on campus, but there was a lot of social anxiety that I found about that when I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. So I went and talked to some people around campus, and they're like, yeah, I really don't like my roommate. And I was like, why not? And they're like, well, you know, we really don't get along. We really don't talk. And she was like, well, I'll just go home since we don't talk. And instead of kind of bridging that gap, they just decided to go home. Which maybe if we had a movie theater like, hey, roommate, maybe we can go to the movies or something like that. Maybe we can bridge that gap a little more and find a reason for them to connect. Males were significantly more likely to stay on campus if there was a campus rec center. Nearly 60% of men compared to nearly 40% of women. And that's half of the guys. They're only like 70 something, so it's a good portion of them want a campus rec center, which we're getting. So we're getting what they'd like. And then when we talked about campus involvement, we found that it didn't have affect perceptions of social support or length of time the student planned to stay at the university. But those involved did tend to purposely interact with people with more people on any given day. The median was about 16 people versus about 12 people. So that was really interesting that they would feel like they have to interact with new people or just interact with people on any given day. And then what's next? In our future research, we kind of want to broaden this study out a little bit more. Hopefully we can do it before they finish all the planning for this rec center, so that we can maybe influence the board of directors and say, hey, our students really want this. Can we make sure that this is included? Because this is really impactful, especially with now that we're spending the money to get this new rec center. We wouldn't want to spend the money on something that the students wouldn't like. And although the university did send out an email and a survey saying, hey, what would you like to see? I know a lot of the students just maybe just brush it off, but maybe it takes a little more one-on-one level that I could present to them, that they could say, well, I really like this. Or like, well, why didn't you say in the survey? I was like, one, I didn't read for the survey, et cetera, but yes. So we want to see if the research we want to do wants to see if this follows the students over the next years, to see if any of these factors predict retention from their freshman to their sophomore year. See if they stay here on campus, if they stay in a residence hall, where they choose to place themselves over the next year. So, are there any questions? Yes.
Was working out one of the reasons they went home? Surprising they would stay for that if that's not why they're reading.
No. That's interesting.
Is it possible they want something else out of the rec center besides exercise?
Yes. I actually participated on the study they were doing before they decided to build the rec center, the university study, and everyone in our group said we don't really want or need to have another rec center that matches Stevenson. We have a place to work out. I mean, if we got some more stuff with maybe a climbing wall or something a little more interesting, something more to do, that'd be wonderful, but there's no place to hang out on this campus. A lot of the issue that I found, even as an RA just talking to my residents, they're like, this place is so boring because after 4:30 the campus shuts down in that sense, and if we give them a place to go afterwards, maybe they would feel like, well, I have a reason to stay, there's something to do other than just sit in my room, and there's other ways to meet new people.
With the extension on the bus route for the weekends, did y'all have anything to do with that with your study? Because I know that they're offering free movie tickets. They have a big opening for March the 2nd.
March 3rd and 4th, yeah.
March 3rd and 4th.
We didn't have anything to do with that, but I wish we had. Maybe that's the kind of research, that's the kind of effect we want our research to have on the university, because we don't want them wasting money on something that we don't want, and of course we don't want to waste money on something that we don't want. So as students, I think it's really important that we get more information on this and research, so that way we can impact and kind of have a level meeting ground of saying, studies show that our students want this. If you buy them this other thing, they won't use it. They'll be like, oh, new shiny toy. but no one's gonna use it after that. Which we don't want the new rec center to be like. Any other questions? No? All right, thank you.